In this video, you're about to watch a real breakdown of a $24,000 course launch, 646 sales on a 3-day open cart, and the course was only $37. But the part that matters, especially if you're building on Skool, is this. It wasn't the price. It wasn't the fancy funnels, it was the support. She literally kept asking her audience the wrong question because they didn't care what it cost. They cared that they had support after they bought it. And that's what Skool does when you use it the right way. And in a second, you're gonna hear how she only wanted 100 buyers just to validate her time. What happens after that is nuts. And wait until you hear her email numbers. 80% open rate on the waitlist launch and a 48% click-through rate on launch week without losing a single subscriber. You launched a course off of Skool and brought everyone into Skool. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to reveal the numbers at some point during the conversation as well. We had a call maybe a couple of months ago. We had a conversation, and we were talking about this launch. So I've kind of been seeing this develop behind the scenes, which has been really exciting. And one of the things that Sookie said to me, and I'm going to let her answer it, was she only wanted a certain number of people to buy. Sookie, can you share that without revealing? You could say the number that you wanted, but don't reveal what actually happened.
Okay. I just wanted 100 people to buy the course. That was my goal,
Right.
just to validate
To
my
validate.
time.
Were there any fears or mindset issues revolved around that thinking?
There's always, we've talked about this before, you and I, just, the imposter syndrome. And even though I've been doing this most of my life, there's always the fear that you're going to put all of your heart and soul into something and then no one's going to like it. No one's ever going to like something as much as you like it. That's just the facts. But the challenge is to make sure that you have positioned yourself in a way that you know your customer really well, and whether you like it or not, they like it. So getting past that fear and making sure that it's going to work.
I make a lot of jokes, but the first time that I met Sookie and I saw that she was doing Sergers, I Googled it because I had no idea what it was. And I think several people will probably be in the same boat. This is a good segue into your business. What is it that you do? I've learned more about Sergers in the last few months than I have in my previous 50 plus years on this planet. So talk about what that is. There's a lot of stuff behind you too. And, just tell us
Yeah.
about your business.
So I've been in the industry my whole life, but not necessarily doing this one topic. But Sergers it's these machines back here. And probably everybody who's sitting here has, in whatever you're wearing, a serger has touched in some way. Whether it's like the hem of your shirt, it's, if you flip it over, it's the little squiggly lines or inside the seams, but it's what makes seams stretch, and that's usually what people think of with sergers. But I have been teaching and traveling and doing, that side of my business for as long as my daughter, she's almost 17. I just got done saying to you.
Mhm.
So when I decided to leave corporate, and in corporate, I was in the fashion industry. I decided to leave corporate and, be a mom. And then shortly after, I had to, like, okay, well, I can't just be a mom. I actually have to make some money. So I decided I'm going to go back into the teaching aspect of it. But most of what I have done is machine embroidery, which I don't even have a lick of machine embroidery in my room, but like your baseball caps behind you,
Okay.
that's got machine embroidery. So that's what I've spent most of my time on. But sergers are such a very specific machine, and people need a lot of help with it. And I noticed that for a long time, and I decided that last year I was just really going to double down on it.
Okay, so last year, as I've heard you say, 2025 was the year of the Serger,
The
correct?
serger.
Okay, this launch and your Skool community, I don't know where Skool came into this, but you have been planning this since the beginning of 2025. Is that correct?
Pretty much, yeah, in my head.
Okay,
Yeah.
so walk us through what you were thinking, and then we can get into kind of like the nuts and bolts of how you actually executed on this.
So I've written 3 books, and they're little books. I'll pull one out, but they're like little pocket guides.
Mhm.
And in November of 24, I published my 3rd, and it was on sergers. And I thought, Man, I don't want to miss an opportunity. The last time I published books, it was during COVID. Couldn't go out anywhere, couldn't see anybody. And this time I got to do book signings, I got to do presentations. And I thought, I want to really make sure I take pay I want to pay attention. So I started doing polls in my one mailing list, which at the time, just for the record, I had about 5 or 6 thousand people on my mailing list. And just to be clear, I've been in business for now it's 17 years. That's the same 5 or 6 thousand people that I've had like the whole time. Maybe I gain 100, maybe I lose 100. There was just no real growth though ever. So that was a problem. And so I decided that, okay, I'm going to really double down on the Serger thing. And I started a brand new mailing list. I think it was December of 2024. And that's where I was like, okay, I got to start with a mailing list because these people are really interested in my other stuff, but they're not necessarily interested in this machine. So I've got to focus on that. And so I created a separate mailing list just for that.
Was there a signal that made you pivot to the Serger? Were people telling you about it, or were you just
Doing
seeing?
Yeah. Aside from like writing my book and doing a lot of research and getting, asking my audience, because I did still have a decent audience and but they're the kind of loyal people that were like, oh, Suki, you've got something new, I'll buy it. But there was no real selling. There was really no like teaching involved. And that's great. I love making money, but it wasn't just about that. It was about making an impact. And again, this machine is people are afraid of it. So what I did was at the end of 24, kind of the middle of 24, when I was writing the book, I was asking a lot of questions like, why are you afraid of it? What is it that what is it? And I just kept asking questions. And I was actually looking through, I think I ended up doing about 25 polls in my mailing list. So that's like I already got their attention. They actually read my newsletter. I have a really good open rate. So my open rate's anywhere between 40 and 80%. So I mean, it's always really consistent. These ladies, they love me. I'll be like, look, I have a squirrel. Oh, let me see your squirrel. Like, they're just like, they love whatever it is that I'm showing them, but they didn't know this machine. So I got them to answer polls. And this is something I wanted to make sure your audience heard.
Mhm.
I took those polls and I brought them into ChatGPT and I AI'd the heck out of those polls. You take the poll and you bring it in, okay, even if it's just 20 answers, that instead of you looking through every single line, and then I found the things that kept reoccurring, the same conversations. And the best bit of advice I can give anybody who's writing copy, writing whatever you're going to put in your marketing, is your best copy comes from your audience. If your audience is like, "Oh, I'm afraid because my husband bought me this machine and now I feel embarrassed because every time I walk by it, I remember he spent $2,000 on it." Well, guess what my next marketing campaign is going to be? Did your husband buy you a machine? You spent $2,000, now you feel guilty every time you walk by it. So if you listen to your audience, you can literally use the words that they are saying. And that's what I did. And that's how I really honed in on how to grow my audience from 0 to the 10,000 on the mailing list at the beginning of November.
Absolutely brilliant. So you actually sent polls in your emails and they
I sent them.
responded.
I did them on Google Docs just because then it's more manageable, and then you have
Okay.
a spreadsheet.
And then that becomes the stuff that you talk about on your about page, your headlines, or in your email, like you said. So perfect
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, I'm glad you said that. So you pivoted and went to a new email list, right? You and talk about that transition because you were doing the embroidery stuff, right? And then you
Mhm.
moved to Serger. So what happened there with your email list and your content?
I still have 2 email lists, and I was very honest and transparent with them, letting them know that the Serger is it's taking a lot of my time, and I wanna make sure that I'm serving the audience that needs me the most. And so I was still for until about, I'm gonna say April, I was still writing a newsletter. Wednesday was my Serger newsletter for this machine here, and then every Friday for, 15 plus years, I have written a newsletter. And I had to be honest with him, like, okay, we're going to go to twice a month. And then now I've gone to once a month. And now I am struggling to keep up with once a month. And it's because I have nothing new to show them. So my Serger newsletter, however, is growing, 100, 200 people a week. and they're hungry. At the end of the day, I'm going to feed the audience that's the hungriest. That's where they need me the most. I'm a teacher at heart. That's my passion. So
Mm.
I want to serve my audience the best, and that's by teaching them. So yeah, the other mailing lists still exist. I just, hey, we evolve as humans too. I mean, I'm certainly not interested in the same things I was 10 years ago. The audiences, they change too, but yeah.
Feed the audience that's the hungriest. Did anyone else
And
hear
dog
that?
quotes. No.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely a quote from you. Okay, you're feeding the audience that's the hungriest, that's a Serger audience. Year of the Serger starts in 2025. Like, what is the strategy? What is the thought process behind this launch? When did you start thinking about it, and what did you start doing?
So after doing lots and lots of polls, I took a lot of it. And again, I don't know what people's opinions are of AI. I use it because I don't have an assistant. I use it as my assistant. So I have fed my ChatGPT. It knows me very well. It knows how I speak and it knows how I write. And so I fed it the information, and then I came back to it and I said, it's time to create a course to serve this audience. And I sat down and I'm going to say I probably spent like 4 hours straight, like didn't get up to go to the bathroom, kind of sitting there and just concentrated. And I came up with a plan. And and I wrote this down somewhere because I wanted to make sure that this really stuck out.
Mhm.
I focused on one thing for this course, one thing. It is very clear. You are going to open the box, you're going to put the machine on the table, and you're going to have a clear understanding of what it does and how to use it. And you're going to create one stitch and you're going to make two projects. Like, it's really simple. You're not going to learn what everything does and how all of it works. And you're not going to learn 22 stitches. And people tend to, get overwhelmed with that. And I know because I've done it. I'm really good at overwhelming people. I'm excellent at that. I'm like, look at, you get this and you get this. And so this course design was actually a really good challenge for me as a designer, as a writer, as a teacher. It forced me to teach them one thing. And let me tell you, the proof is in the pudding because they needed it. So it was clarity. This is what you're going to get. This is how I'm going to help you get there. And at the end, this is how you're going to feel. And a lot of it was emotion. All of my copy, all of it was based on emotion because I know my customer really well. For those of you watching, a lot of times you'll hear it as ICA, ideal customer avatar. I know her so well. I know her age. I know her hobbies. I know her interests. I know her desires. I know what she worries about. The better you can know your client or your potential client, the better you will be able to serve them. And so, yeah, that's what I did. And I made sure that it was just really easy for them to click on the buttons too, because my audience the average age is 65 and up.
Mhm.
And my number one question I get every day in my email is, how do I download a PDF? Well, usually it's, what is a PDF? And then how do I download it? So I know her very well. So if you know your audience really well, you'll already know the answers to the questions.
The emotional stuff that you used in your marketing material.
It landed down to a couple of types of people. You either buy a machine yourself,
Mhm.
you're gifted a machine, or you are convinced to buy a machine. And for a lot of years, and I still do it, I still teach in public, not very often. I get paid really, really good to teach, but I don't like leaving my house anymore. I'm kind of a hermit, but I'll go and I'll teach. And I was a salesperson for a long time too. So I love selling people machines. But the thing is though, a lot of times people sell these machines to these ladies because, just to give you an idea, and you can't see it, but this one's like, there's about 6 grand sitting here at this table. And over here, there's about 9 grand of another machine. They're not cheap machines, the ones that I work on. So when I go to a store and they buy these machines, they're sold. And
Mhm.
so there's these 3 people, they either, bought it themselves, it was a gift, or they were kind of coerced into getting it. And then they open it up and they are immediately overwhelmed. Or they open it up, they try and figure it out, but then they don't know where to start. And then a lot of times, usually I'm going to say about 60% of them take it, put it back in the box, and they tuck it away and they forget that they have it. That is like 60% of my audience. That's what happened to them. And
Okay.
so figuring out how that's why I mean in my copying, I'm trying to look for I think my actual my actual marketing is unbox it, learn it, love it. It's like you got to get it out of the box to learn it.
Yeah. Okay. That's perfect. And again, that just goes back to you knowing what they do and preventing that from happening. And it's because of the
Yeah.
confusion piece. Okay. Perfect. So you have the idea for the course. You're putting everything together. You got the polls. You didn't make it yet, did you? You
The
didn't make the
course
course. Yeah.
I
You
hadn't
have.
when you and I had our conversation, like our first coaching, no, I had not made the course yet. I had it laid out. I knew what I
Got
was
it.
going to do, but I had not actually pressed film record. And
Okay.
I'm glad I hadn't because you helped me figure out like how to bring the other part because I wanted to have a course, but I want to say this, and actually I wrote
Mhm.
this down too. I have 16 courses actually on my website. The percentage of people who actually watch the course and finish the project or whatever it is about 15%. So I'm happy, you know, as a salesperson, I'm happy. I'll take your money all day long. But then the teacher part of me is like, oh man, you know, they bought it, but then they never used it. And when I did my polls, one of the reoccurring comments that people would say is, well, I'll take a class. And I was asking, like, how much would you be willing to pay for this? I was asking the wrong questions, Brian, because
Mhm.
what one of my future polls, because I kept asking, like, well, what would you be willing to pay? This, or this? And then, you know, and then leave a comment for anything extra over and over again. We'd be like, Sookie, I don't really care what it costs. I just need support after. And so I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. How could I not think about that?" I've struggled with my weight almost my entire life, and then a year and a half ago, I did it. I lost 100 plus pounds, and I've been able to maintain it. And I did it with Weight Watchers and yoga, whatever. But you know why? Some of my copy was also about Weight Watchers, showing up to meetings, having this accountability. And so I use that because a lot of my audience is women and they may struggle, whatever, you know,
Mhm.
it's relatable. Everybody knows what Weight Watchers is. Everybody knows you go to a meeting. It's relatable and it's understandable. So now just I looked at it this morning. I have a 40% of people have already begun Serger Escape. 20% of them have finished it. And it's like, okay, that makes me feel like good. It's working. But I 100% believe it's because they have the accountability because of the Skool community. 100% believe that.
I'm in Sookie's school community. She invited me in there just to just silent to poke around,
My
and
mentor in there.
it's lights out in there. I'm telling you, like the women are posting. I mean, it's just and the thing that I love about your group is everyone is doing the same thing. Like it's the one thing, right? And
It's the
everyone
one
is
thing.
yeah. So and
Yeah.
look, this is easier said than done, but I hope everyone's hearing that, right? Like you're doing something that's super super simple, and that was what your course was about. Okay, so the Serger Escape is the course. Yes,
Serger Escape is the course
right.
that lives on my website.
Hmm.
And we did talk about that too. Like, could it live on Skool? Yes, it could. But I already have 16 other courses that live on my website. It took me forever to get my little old ladies to figure out how to do that. I don't want to confuse them anymore. I don't want to muddy the water. So, and I have it established. It's really clean. It's efficient. It does a nice job.
Okay,
It
excellent. All right.
lives there.
With some of the other stuff that you sell on your website as well, because I
Yeah.
think you sell your designs as well. Yes.
Yes. My
Yeah. Yeah.
designs
Okay.
and my patterns. Yeah.
We're going to get into now the actual execution of the launch strategy, which is really, really interesting. And I don't know it all yet. I know a lot of it. So you hadn't made the course yet. You're building. You use a waitlist strategy, and please stop me if I'm leaving anything out. You used a waitlist strategy to sell this thing.
I did. Okay, I have my notes here. So the beginning of November, I still hadn't figured out the platform because I knew I wanted to offer some sort of a membership. I've been looking at different ones.
Mhm.
And, you know, to Skool's credit, they offered that $9 hobby plan. And I thought, okay, good, you know, because once I say it out loud to my audience, they're gonna commit, they're gonna lock in. So if I commit to something else, so I thought, okay, for $9 a month, let me test it out. So I tested it out. I played with it for a couple of weeks, and then it was Caroline,
Mhm.
I saw her post something and then she led me to you. So I was like, ooh, I like what she's doing. You know, this is she's got it going on. Like, maybe you know, she inspired me, so that's how I found you, and that's where I landed on Skool. To be honest, so to their credit, they got me in the door that way.
Thanks,
I knew I
Caroline.
wanted to. Yeah, thanks, Caroline. I knew I wanted to have some sort of a membership aspect, you know, and this was it. My mailing list at the time was about 10,000, like 9, 10,000,
Okay,
on
so that's
just
where I
for
want to
searchers.
stop you is you went from but it was 0 at the beginning of
At the
the year,
beginning of the
wasn't it?
year, yeah.
Yeah. So how did you build the so guys, for context, 0 to 10,000 email subscribers in 1 year. Can you walk us through how you did that?
Yeah, you gotta have a lead magnet. You gotta have
Mhm.
a reason for them to exchange you give them your email. And so
Okay.
for me, it was the beginning of the year. You know, like you've heard the saying, Sean Cannell, I think it is, from Think Media, like you got to hit record, you know, before you're even ready. I mean, honestly, it was true. I was recording at the beginning of the year for Year of the Serger, and I'm like, yeah, and download the whatever I had given it, you know, the beginner Serger guide.
Mhm.
Folks, I hadn't even written the beginner Serger guide. I didn't even know what I was going to put in it, but I had to say it in the video so that, you know, I could create it. So download the beginner Serger guide and that'll get you started. That was the call to action. You want this, get this, give me your email. And so they get the free flyer,
Mhm.
and then they also get on my weekly mailing list, which is valuable because every week I show up with new education. And so, yeah, that was it. And then it grew. I have to say, it didn't really decrease much. You know, like because I'm always aware, you know, we pay for our subscribers. So, like, I'll look and see if there's dead audience, I get rid of them. I'm like, yep, okay. Oh, this number is really pretty, but I'm paying for those people, 100 people who haven't opened their mailing, you know, their newsletter for 2 months. So you're out. And then by November, beginning of November, I had about 10,000. But I started teasing them like, okay, I've been talking about this thing. I'm excited about it. Of course, I had it all written out. And now I'm officially creating a wait list for it. I don't know when it's going to be out. It'll be out sometime late November, early December.
Okay.
And I had a lot of pushback, like, oh, don't do it now because of the holidays. Well, you know, I actually put that into AI too, because I was kind of like, oh, yeah, how am I going to respond to this? Well, it ended up becoming really great marketing material. I ended up using that to my advantage. Like, are you not wanting to buy this because of the holidays? And then bam, I hit them with, they'll never be this low again. It's including this, it's including this. You don't have time to play with it right now.
Mhm.
Buy it now. Think about it in the middle of January. And so I was really glad I didn't let people scare me off from doing it. So
Okay.
at the
Yeah.
end of it, do you want me to share the numbers though? List?
Yeah, let's I want to talk about the wait list and then why you chose the wait list strategy as opposed to just saying, "Okay, here's the thing, go get it."
Because it's kind of like I built my own funnel in a way. You know, I've got
Mhm.
my 10,000 people, or, you know, whatever I have on YouTube, and then, you know, it's getting it funneled down. So now on my wait list, I kept, I think at the beginning of November, I had like maybe 200 people who were interested. And that's why I told you, like, if I could sell 100, I'll be happy, especially since I want to test it and see if I need to fix anything. So then I had every week in my newsletter, because I'm, you know, I bring them new information every week. And I said that I'm, you know, I would start like teasing them with it. What are they going to learn? What are they going to focus on? Has this been a problem for you? This is going to be the solution. But the only way that you'll be able to hear about when it's open is on the wait list, and it's going to be a very short open period. So I got to tell you that that works. You know, it, for me anyways, for this course, I had to make sure that it had a very clear open and a very clear end date. Oh, Sookie, when's it going to be? Well, to be honest, Brian, you and I talked in the middle of November. I hadn't even finished. I hadn't even filmed yet. So they're asking me in the beginning of November when it's going to be done. And I'm like, oh, it's going to be done, you know, we talked
Yeah.
about, you and I talked about maybe launching it during Black Friday, and I'm so glad I didn't, because there's so much noise during Black Friday that I'm
Yeah.
glad I didn't.
Yeah.
And then
So,
that's why the
yeah.
wait list though, because then it's a, if you're really interested, get on here. And then I would always give them an out, like, you know, if you're no hard feelings, if you don't want to be on the wait list, no hard feelings. And
Mhm.
then once they finally got on the wait list, I didn't send them anything, and I wanted to look at my calendar. I think the first actual newsletter I sent to to the wait list was 2 weeks before the launch. And all it told them was the date. And I don't think I told them the price yet. But then I had like gobs of emails saying, but what's it going to cost? And I thought, and I even talked to one of my other mentors about this, like, do I share the price? You know what? What the heck? Let me share the price. And I did. And I thought, I'm going to watch the, it go down. It did not go down. I didn't lose one subscriber from that mailing list, that newsletter that went out. And then I
Incredible.
thought, oh man, am I not charging enough? But yeah.
You're doing 9 to 10 months. That's what I want people to understand. 9 to 10 months of reminding people every single week about the thing that's coming, even though you told me that people were asking you how they could pay you for this thing much sooner than that.
Yeah, because every week I would give them whether it's a video on YouTube, tons of content on Instagram. Every week they get a mailing, a newsletter that has a tidbit of information. Oh, and because I sell like this little hexagon thing, that's
Mhm.
one of my patterns. So every single week in my newsletters, I have testimonials every single week. If I don't, I pull one from 2 or 3 months before and reshare it because people don't remember, they forget
Yeah.
so every week I would show them that. And then that was kind of how I would keep up with keeping them interested and,
Mhm.
keeping sales going and stuff too.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, I'm not just selling this one thing. I have a very self-sustaining business that, my website, it runs itself. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So that's good news, or that's good. That's good context. The wait list, what did it get up to? How many
So
people?
our last number, like the day that I sent it out, was 1,143.
Okay,
And that's
out of 10,000.
out of 10,000.
Huh.
Because to me, I thought, and that's, I think, where my mind went to, okay, if I could sell 100, I'll be happy. 10,000, 1,000, 100. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. That's usually like if you could sell 10%, any salesperson will say, if you can sell 10%, then that's good. It's not great.
yeah.
I'll
Hey,
be, I'll be angry, but I'll be mad, but
yeah, way more than the 100. You had not built the course yet. You also, one of the things I remember because we were going back and forth in the DMs was you were testing everything and building everything and making sure everything worked. I mean, there was a lot of behind the scenes and definitely some stress. I think I was stressed out
oh
for
my
you too. But there, maybe talk a little bit about that before the launch, because the other part of this that's really important, guys, is you could only buy this course and get the Skool community support, which she'll tell you what it is. I maybe it was 3 days tops.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
talk about that and why you think that's effective.
It's creating a sense of urgency. If you give them forever, then they'll forget about it. They'll take their sweet time.
Mhm.
And so I took that 2 weeks that I finally had the attention of the wait list. And I believe whatever day it was that I sent it out, I believe I even sent out one more last email to my regular newsletter and said, this is going to include something like you've never seen before, a private community dedicated to Sergers. If that at all is of any interest to you, add your name to the wait list. And I don't remember, I wish I would have paid attention. I could go back and look, but I'm going to say that added an extra 100 people. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but if I really wanted to sit down and look at the analytics, who knows, that 100 people. And it makes me, should have I, like, kind of like for the next time, should have I spoke to that sooner? Because this was such a basic course and we are only doing one thing. We are opening the box, we are taking it out, we are talking about how, what I'm saying? Like, it's such a basic course. And so many of my audience are way far beyond that. They don't need help with that. They're making wedding dresses. They don't need help with the basics. So
Yeah.
no hard feelings that 9,000 people didn't get on the wait list. They don't need it necessarily. I also maybe didn't write the right copy to them 2 months before, and that's okay. But now I've learned so much, when
Yeah.
you launch something, you learn, you launch and learn. But
Totally.
yeah,
Okay.
that's, I would say that, yeah, I
You
do
did.
want to say,
Yeah.
I was going to
No,
say
no,
one
go ahead.
thing. I had this written, Seth Godin, he has this saying, like, when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. And I had that written like on my board over here because I just kept thinking, I am such like I'm a teacher. I want to teach you everything I know. I want to like, oh, I want to, I have to really pull back and remind myself like, okay, I want to show everybody everything, but today I'm going to teach in Serger Escape. We are teaching this one very specific thing, and I know that my course and the launch wouldn't have been what it is if I hadn't kept looking at that.
Yeah, wonderful share. The opening of the box thing is very, I think a lot of folks can resonate with that because we've all opened up boxes of stuff and like, all right, what do I do? What do I do now? The instructions are there, right? But when you have you're solving that problem at with all of your expertise and your 25 years. I think you've been doing this for 25 years. And again, all this trust that you built from YouTube. By the way, guys, she's got like 70,000 subscribers on YouTube and has a really, really large following. And guess what she only talks about on our YouTube channel, right? The other
Yeah.
thing about your YouTube channel before we get into the numbers, and this is really important while we're on along the one thing lines, is you mentioned that, and I might have already said this, that you give it all away for free. Like it's
On YouTube?
everything
Yeah.
is on YouTube.
Yeah, everything pretty much everything that's in the course is on YouTube. Do you have to hunt and pick at it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have to dig around? It's funny, to grow my mailing list, I have multiple lead magnets, but my number one best lead magnet, it's a 21-page handout that has QR codes that lead them back to my YouTube channel. It's like this big circle. It's like, here, now come back and visit me. Now go over here and visit my other video. And it's like a big loop. And I give them a discount code in there that they can go buy products. One of my challenges though this coming week is to revamp that because it was a year ago I created it and I've learned so much. But lead magnets, giving them something in exchange for their email. One page is fine, but if it's got, I'm going to tell you, even if you could just fill it up with images, but like 3 pages seems to be the sweet spot. But yeah, YouTube, I couldn't believe one of my fans in there, and one of my students in there is she's a mega fan, and she found me like 2 months ago. She found me on YouTube by Googling those words. And just to be really clear, my YouTube channel, like I've actually had to hide a lot of videos. I've been doing YouTube a long time, embarrassingly so. Like it took me a long time to grow. But last year, I think I grew 20,000 subscribers last year, focused on this one specific topic. And what's really crazy is I didn't make as much money last year on YouTube as I did the year before, talking about random things. But for me, I mean, yeah, I like money, but it wasn't about the money. It was
Right.
about the launch. It was about getting the audience to come off of YouTube where there's so much noise, to come into my mailing list where there's no distractions. I have their 100% attention. And now I've really got their attention inside the club.
We're going to get into Skool here in a minute, but we're going to reveal the numbers now. So 1,143 on the wait list. You were happy with 100.
I was happy with 100.
Yeah. Tell us what happened.
Well, okay, so there was an 80% open rate to that first email. I just wanted to let everybody know that because that was crazy. Usually my open rate, like I said, is 40 to 60%, which is really great. I'm always thrilled when I see that.
Yeah.
And 80%, 40%, 48% of them clicked. I did not lose one subscriber. What happened is I had it all set up and like, this is why my brain hurts so bad. And I think I was messaging you like, my brain hurts. I can't think about anything. And you were sweet. You're like, well, let's get on a call and I'll help you. And I'm like, no, because I probably will just cry. I don't want to spend 30 minutes crying. But the
Yeah.
truth is that I had it all set up through my mailing list, through Kit, so that as soon as they bought it, it then put them on, so they would get a welcome video,
Mhm.
and then they would be taken off that list because once you buy something you don't want to keep hearing about it, so it
No.
took them off the wait list. It now put them on, that they bought it, and then they immediately got a welcome email that has a sequence to it. I'm not that's not my specialty. It took a lot of brain power. Anyways, I figured it out. It was great. And after the first, I think it was like less than an hour, we had sold 128. And that's when I messaged you. I'm like, Brian, I,
Yeah.
I exceeded my goal. So after that, I was like, okay, all right. Okay, guys, y'all want to go out and get some breakfast now? Mama's got some money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I
I
left
know.
it open Saturday. It was Saturday the 13th. I left it open at noon. And then I closed it midnight on Monday,
Okay.
whatever that
Yeah.
Monday was, the 15th. And
Okay.
that's what I did. And between that time, I wrote this down too. I sent out a total of 8 emails. There was 2 the first day, 2 the second day, and 4 the last day. And it was perfect. I have to say I'm not necessarily an email marketing mastermind,
Mhm.
but I've read a lot and I did my homework and it worked out really good. And I never lost one subscriber from the list. So even though out of the 1,000, you want me to tell the number now?
I do.
We ended up selling 646 and that is who enrolled in Serger Escape
Yeah.
and ultimately have access to the course or the club. And it just like my heart just like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, good. I can pay some debt off now, like, oh man, we're having steak tonight, y'all. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
no ramen tonight. But that's what it is like, when you're an entrepreneur. You have to like I've never had such a successful launch before, but I it was a lot of preparation. Now, I will say, this is the only thing I wanted to stress to your audience. I had planned to launch Serger Escape in May,
Mhm.
but then I moved in June.
Mhm.
And I knew this was going to take attention and time. And then I don't know when the last time you all moved, but I never want to move again. I hate freaking moving, man. It's the worst. And I moved across state and it was just a lot. So, and then having to settle in, I have a child, just, life. So,
Right.
and then now we're in the summer and to properly launch a course, I'm like, I gotta wait. I gotta wait. And so I did. And I'm glad I waited
Yeah.
because I also had to rebuild my audience up because I didn't do any YouTube videos for like 2 months, I think. So I had to rebuild and I'm glad I did because the videos that I did, and that was another thing I wanted to mention to your audience too, is the videos that I did 2 months prior to the launch are perfect conversations for people. It's the stuff that's not in the course because it's too advanced for what's in the course, but it's like the next questions that they're going to have. And I kind of did this strategically. So they're in the course. They're like, okay, great. They're in the membership. I just finished Surgery Escape, the course. They're like, but now what about this? Great question. I have a video on that, which I now lead them to my YouTube channel, which, they already know about it, but they can't watch everything, right? We
Right.
think everybody watches everything we post, but they don't. And now they're like, "Ooh, well, do you have a course on this?" And now I'm like, "Oh, this is great. Now I've already set myself up to write the next course, and
They're
which I already
asking
have
you
this.
that inside of the school community
I
or
might.
on your no, I'm saying, are they asking you that inside
Oh,
the
yeah,
school community?
they're
Yeah.
asking inside the community.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Okay,
So
one thing we didn't talk about was how much did you sell the course for?
I sold the course. So I put it at a retail value of $77.
Mhm.
And I even thought like there's no way anybody would want to pay that. But I ended up I'm trying to think what I did. I was going to sell it for $27, which I
Mhm.
knew was too low. But then when you and I talked about like the membership and the value of it, I ended up selling it for $37. As soon as I changed the price and as soon as 100 came in, I was like, oh, I should have charged more. But then I'm like, no, I knew that I needed to be able to tell them it will never be this low. And let me tell you, it will never be this low again because now I know the value is there. I know it.
Yeah.
And so that's why the launch was really good too. I also know my customers' pocket. I know what they're willing to pay for things. I
Yeah.
sell this pattern just to make that one pattern. I sell $20 for that. So I'm like, what do I sell? I it took me a while to figure it out. I will say this: the course will be more expensive next time. I've already increased the retail value of it, and I will probably at a discount. The discount will be $77.
Mm. And I feel confident that you're gonna make a lot of sales doing that,
Sell
right?
600, but
Yeah,
I'll
yeah. Right, we'll see, but you learned so much through that launch, and again, you're just guys, she's like everybody else, second guessing and what if this and what if that, and, didn't wanna get in a call with me because she said she was gonna cry the whole time, and it's like, no one's immune to this stuff, I think is and that's something that you really thought was important for everyone to hear, all the members to
for
hear was
sure.
that,
Yeah,
this didn't go exactly as you had planned it to, but what my takeaway from this is you were so patient, you built massive trust with your audience. And I would just ask anybody in this room right now that's listening, if you knew that this could be a potential end result for you, would you stick to the one thing for a year? She's been doing it for way longer than that. Would you, if you knew that this was a potential result, if you planned it, would you stick to the one thing for 12 months if you knew you could have this type of a payoff and then there's more to come? Because now the next thing is all of the 646 people get invited to the Skool community. That's the segue. Now,
Yep.
what happened there? Because that was another area of concern for you. Like, are they even going to be able to use this thing because of the tech issue that you described?
Yeah, which you mentored me through too, and you helped me, we laid out a nice PDF. I mean, really, I was thought about doing a video, but I just made a really simple, like 4 or 5 page PDF.
Mhm.
Step one, accept the, click join. And I screenshot it. And yeah, it was good. I'm glad I did that because it made it really easy. Simple. People like simple steps. I heard somebody recently that say that if a process has more than 5 steps, you've got too many. 3 is like, if you look at anything, it's like, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, I can handle that. And so everywhere on my website and everywhere, even in the copy on my on the sales page, it was like, this is what you're getting, blop, blop, blop. Even if this had multiple things in it, but it's just easier on the eye. So yeah, making it really easy for them to get the course, have
Mhm.
access to the course, but you are now invited for a 3-month VIP experience inside the Serger Dream Club, an exclusive, private, off social media. Because I really want to stress that, because I don't know, again, this all comes back to know your ICA. You got to know them really well. Well, I know mine. She's 65 years old. She's a grandma. She barely knows how to take a picture with her phone. She definitely is afraid of Facebook, because what if they steal my identity? They stole my cousin's identity. Oh, and then you see what's going on with the politics. I don't want to get involved in that. This is how she thinks. So the biggest selling feature for me was it's private and it's off social media. All we talk about here is Sergers. That's it. That's all we talk about. I don't care what's going on around the world. Doesn't matter to me. All we talk about is you and your Serger. And let me tell you that Brian, I even told you, I'm like, I'm really surprised that so many people of the 646, we have, like, I didn't look this morning or right before we got on the call, but it's like 415 or 413 that are
Yeah.
now now minus you and me.
Mhm.
Let's just say 400. That's 400 plus of the 630 or 46, whatever. That's like really good percentages. I'm very proud of my sweet little old ladies. I really am, because I did not think they were going to do it. I thought maybe we'll have 1 or 200 people actually join the membership.
Yeah.
Very proud of them. And they're starting to help each other out too. Like, I don't understand this button. And then someone else will chime in. It's like children taking care of children. It's great.
The so she knows her audience so well. I was actually last night I was watching a video that you posted inside of your community where you were teaching them how to go to the next couple of live sessions you had. And guys, I'm not kidding. She's literally holding up her phone and
Like,
going, "Hey, on the mobile app, you click here and do this." Like that's how we all what Suki is describing is she does not take for granted what she knows. She has to dumb it down to like the 3 to 5 steps she talks about. It's like you just got to make it super clear. And I do my best to try to do the same thing as well, because I realize that people don't know how to use the app, and that's a fear. That's a fear for a lot of people. It's like I don't want to go there because I don't want to have to log in, and like you said with the password stuff, like that's really, really real,
yeah.
and getting your identity stolen. So great point there. Your a group is on fire in terms of the engagement there, to the point where something happened recently with the Skool folks. They reached out to you. What did they tell you?
Well, you had made some really good suggestions on our calls, and one of them was uh, get them to come into the membership, because that will put you at higher ranking. And I'm glad I did. And so yeah, they've told me, like, their school's proud of me. They're like, "Whoa, way to go. This is looking good." As of yesterday, we were ranked at, under the hobbies category, we were ranked at 69. And today I looked at it and it was at 67. Now that's in the hobbies category. I don't know about, across the board. I don't really care about across the board. All I care
Mhm.
about is the hobbies category.
Yeah.
But I am stressing this to them because what they don't know is in 2 months' time, I'm going to be reminding them that this was a 3-month VIP experience that was a bonus.
Mhm.
And now, if you have enjoyed your time here, and then I got to figure out the rest of the copy, but
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
now it's time to, if you've enjoyed it, now it's time to, if you want the full VIP experience, and that's one of our next calls, is to figure out, do I keep this? Do I add this? And but I'm starting to plant the seed, because I almost have to like market the club now. I almost have to like start marketing the club, because come the end of March, I'm going to launch the course again, and I will be bringing a new group of people in there. And I want to make sure that everybody knows that, they're separate, but I want people to stay in there. So we got to figure that out.
Yeah, and I'm sure you will. So, guys, she doesn't have it figured out yet. She doesn't know,
No, I
right? She
don't.
just knows that this thing is coming, and she has to figure it out. And so many people would be up at night because they don't know. They haven't figured that part out yet, and she will. She will figure it out.
We'll figure it out, and
Yeah,
you'll help me figure it out. And two, I think I just wanted to stress it to them how it's gone. It, like a week ago, it was 141, and it's ranking higher because, as the school reached out and they were like, "Hey, it's because of your engagement. Your
yeah,
audience is on fire. They're posting pictures, they're sharing videos, they're engaged, they're having a good time." I'm telling them that purposefully. Like, y'all know what you got here, right? You're having a
yeah,
good time. You're
yeah,
posting,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
sharing. You know this is cool, right? You understand that, right? Like, I'm kind of telling them that to softly sell that when it comes time to ask for a membership fee, they'll be ready. And I keep referring to them as my founding members. Without you, I couldn't build this. I want you to tell me what's working, what's not working. It's no hard feelings. This is your club. This is for you.
right. You do a really great job because I've watched some, I'm definitely snooping on your videos, but you do a great job of selling without selling. Like you're reminding them of what's happening and encouraging them. And then to see some of your, to see your ladies support each other and posting. Cause again, that was something
Oh,
we talked about. Like it's going to be quiet in there and they're
I know.
learning to use the platform, right?
I'm
Which
so
isn't,
proud of them.
yeah,
My daughter was like my number one person that I put in it.
yeah,
And then my boyfriend, and so they're both in there. And then my daughter is like, she's like, "Mom, they're like actually helping each other." No, like, "Mom, did you see this comment?" And she's like, "I thumbs it up." And I'm like, "I know, right? It's cool.
yeah.
It's better than I thought."
I'm definitely proud of what you've done and then just really
Thanks.
how you've powered through it and just the uncertainty going through it and just like
Mhm.
facing that head on. That's probably one of my biggest takeaways for you is that, you really you have goals and you're just really not sure how it's going to go. And it could have gone the opposite way too. Maybe you would have only gotten 75 sales, right? But
Yeah.
you still would have launched and you still would have learned something. There's a lot of folks here that are here now, but also watching this recording and probably getting inspired. If you could give them some words of wisdom, yes, I'm putting you on the spot. Like, what are some of
Mhm.
the things? Because there's a lot of people are just they're thinking about giving up, they're thinking about pivoting to the next thing, they're not really sure what to do, and that really crushes dreams. And I think that you probably know that. So, what is some what's some advice or some words that you would say to them if they're thinking and there's also going to be, and I know I'm asking like five questions, there's also going to be a lot of people who are watching this that might be thinking, well, she's got this, special specific thing. Like I can't do that in my business. And I have a lot of thoughts on that I'm not
Yeah,
going to
I
share.
think that too sometimes. So I'll look at like people who do beauty on Instagram, and I'm like, "Oh, well, if I could just do my hair all day long, I get it. I totally understand." Or like, "Oh, if I was just a crafter, or if I was just, if I just baked, I definitely understand that. I also
Mhm.
wish I was in the, media so I wouldn't have to pay for my own equipment. But no, I've chosen to do something that I am passionate about. I love it. My biggest tip is going to be going back to what Seth Godin says, when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one. And if you can figure out who your audience is, and once you know that person inside and out, then you know what they are sitting up at night about, what they are excited about, and then you figure out how you can best serve them and best help them. And then really just make it all about them too. It would be another piece of advice, because for a lot of years, I mean, I'm going to be 50 this year. So, I've been at this a long time. I think it's good to stay in your lane and to also, know who your audience is when I say that, because there's a lot of young sewing people out there, and they're like, "Oh, I just got my machine." And now all of a sudden they've got, 100,000 people on Instagram, and that's great. Happy for them. I I'm going to use that in my copy. I've been doing this for 25 years. I didn't just get a machine a year ago and start teaching people. Whatever it is that you're looking at somebody else thinking that you're like threatened by, use that to your advantage. So if you're watching this and you're like, "Oh, well, I have only been doing this for a year." Use that to your advantage. Can you believe I've only been doing this a year and I've already inspired 100 people to do this? So whatever it is that you're thinking is your negative, switch it around and focus on that as a positive. And I would also, you're going to laugh at this one, but I would also take that, okay, I've only been doing this for a year and I've only got 20 people that are in my group. I would literally take those words and I would put them into ChatGPT, and I would say, "ChatGPT, I'm having a really crappy day and I've only got 100 people and, I've only been doing this a year. Help me come up with 10 reasons why future people should join me. These are some of the things my current audience is saying that they like about me." And that will that'll give you the next 10 things to write about.
That's absolutely brilliant. I mean, that is mindset times a million there. So great
Mindset,
stuff.
yeah.
And because you can go down that path, and it's like, I'm only this, and I'm not this, and this other person who's got the 100,000 Instagram
Yeah.
followers. It's, we all want to teach people not to look
I
sideways.
would
We
give
can't help ourselves.
one last bit of advice when it comes to
Yeah.
like social media and those things. I would create either a separate account for yourself, or whatever it takes for you to stop looking at the people who are your, quote, competition. I actually can't stand when other sewing things pop up on my Instagram feed. I do my best to not have them. I follow mentors and inspirational things. I follow hair videos, whatever. I just follow anything that's not, because you'll get really good inspiration from other niches that
Mhm.
you can use in your own. So whatever it takes to just block out the noise.
Block
And
out the noise.
yeah.
That's
Oh
all
my
it
God,
is.
I could recommend so many good books on just that alone. That's a conversation for another day. But yeah,
Yeah.
block out the noise and focus on your strengths. And yeah, don't give up. I've been doing this a long time, and I've eaten a lot of ramen, and we did have a nice steak that night. I will say we had steak for the first time in a while.
Well, you definitely earned it. I learned so much with this with this interview and you sharing us. I'm so glad, like, guys. For those of you who don't know, like, Sookie's in Mindset School, so you know,
Yeah, I'm a member.
yeah, she's a member, and she's active, and there's a lot of cool things happening with her group. And this is there's no right or wrong way to handle your school community. I mean, this is how she built her school community. And
Yeah,
there's a lot you can take away from this. And now she's got to move to the next thing, and we'll see what happens. And,
I know.
in
I
6
I
months.
love your group though too. Like I love being in your membership, because like I don't know everything. Like I posted something about Zoom the other day. I'm like, "Listen, I can spin circles around this, but Zoom hates me. It freaking hates me." And so I can't remember who it was, but she posted this long, like basically step by step, and I'm like, "Oh, the love in this group is so great." So yeah, I mean, we don't, again, you can't be everyone to everyone. So I am not the Zoom master, but I came to you all and you all helped me out. So see, like, know your strengths, admit your weaknesses, and seek out help for the people
Yeah.
who can help you with that.
I think that's probably my biggest takeaway from what you said is you can't be everything to everyone. Um, that's great. And I
Yeah.
100% agree. And we all try to do that to some extent because we want to be helpful. And it's the narrower you get, the better. Now, in the beginning, it doesn't always look like that, right? Like, you may not know, oh, hey, I got to teach people how to open the serger box and make their first stitch. Like, it took you some time to get to
I
that
mean,
point, right?
golly, yeah, I've been doing this a long time, and why? Yeah. No, and you have to, and but it was good though, is I did have somebody give me some really good advice about a year and a half ago. When I kind of started this journey, and now she has like, this is one of my good friends. It's in the sewing world. She has like 700,000 on YouTube. So she's been at this a long time, very successful. And she just said, create a simple library that every time a question comes up anywhere, and this, they talk about this in that book I recommended. anywhere that you see somebody post something in a Facebook group, on Instagram, you are an authority of some point to some point, obviously, because you decide you want to run a business. So take that to your advantage, get inside these places and say, oh man, you know what? And if you're allowed, say, actually, yeah, I just created a video on how to, fix a toilet, whatever it is that your specialty is. And now you become the authority. So I did do that for a while. I just kind of kept doing it and everywhere I could. So yeah,
And
and
it worked because you have
it worked.
70,000 subscribers on YouTube and 20,000 in 1 year, which is, a lot of people are gonna look at that and be like, okay, I gotta get that done. And there's gonna be
It's
all different types of levels to a launch like this. It doesn't have to
mhm.
be at the level that you did it at. But breaking this down again, I just go back to like the simplest thing, like open the box, take it out of the box, show
Yeah,
you how to use it, and make your first stitch. It's not A to Z, how to do everything you could possibly do with a serger, right? And people
yeah.
bought it. You would think that nobody would buy that.
That's why I didn't know if they would, because
Yeah.
yeah, literally
Yeah.
it's all on YouTube,
Yeah.
but it's there and they have it forever and
Yeah.
it's helpful. It's helpful to them.
Yeah. And you're gonna launch it again with no changes. It's gonna be the same course. You're just gonna raise the price.
I actually thought, okay, well, I'm gonna wait and see if anybody has any feedback. And I haven't found one typo, I haven't found one mistake, because what came along with it too, because I am a big person, like it comes with like a workbook and
Mhm.
extra information because my ladies, they love to print out stuff. So yeah, it comes with like it even comes with like a certificate at the end of it. So like
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I won't make any changes. I haven't found any reasons to, which is nice. I'm not gonna lie. That's
Yeah.
I didn't
You don't
know.
want to redo it?
So that's
Great.
good.
Okay. I think we answered all the questions. I want to respect everyone's
Yeah.
time, especially Sookie's, because we've gone over here a little bit. Don't be afraid to comment in the thread about how great she was and all the shares, and just peeling back the curtain, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah.
I've learned so much. I think everybody else has as
And
well.
any other questions too, like I'm happy to, it's kind of fun to talk about this stuff to like-minded people. My family's sick of hearing me talk about Serger Escape. They're like, if you say Serger Escape one more time, so they're tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, I
It's
know
nice
that
to talk
too. My
about
wife unsubscribed from my email list. She's like, "Why do I need your emails when that's all you do
like,
is talk about it all the time? Like, I
yeah,
don't need to watch your YouTube videos. You already tell me all the time." So
so funny.
I'm gonna stop recording.